we are back on Build Phase TV. And today we are going to talk about Midwinter 2022.
How thick? We have this many mats from that. That's really thick.
And we are going to go on as long as we need to address everything that took place at Midwinter 2022. However, before we get to that, I want to talk about Midwinter 2020. And the thing that happened at Midwinter 2020 was that there was an insufficient number of league mats and league promos for that event. So here we are 2 years later, and there has been kind of a, hey, Upper Deck, when are you going to address this? How are you going to get these things to people that they were supposed to be shipped out? Understandably, after Midwinter 2020, COVID hit almost right away. And Upper Deck kind of went, hey, we'll deal with that at some point. What I expected was nothing. I expected that here we are 2 years later, and they were just going to say, sorry, we don't know how to help you. And I was wrong. I pleasantly surprised to be wrong that at Midwinter 2022, Upper Deck brought the league stuff that should have been there for Midwinter 2020, and players were able to come up and claim these awesome 2020 league mats as well as 2020 league promos, and good on them. You know, I criticize Upper Deck when I think they screw things up, but this was perfect. It could not have been handled better, other than, yeah, if COVID didn't happen, I think it would have been handled better. But,
yeah.
I mean, you know. So,
what are they going to do? Ship it when they can't ship anything because of COVID?
Yeah, well, and to figure out who was supposed to get it, and like there is a logistical thing there that did need to be handled. It wasn't the delay that I was necessarily worried about. It was it would be so easy to go, it's been 2 years, sorry. Like, that's kind of the outcome I expected, and they surprised me by being really cool and coming through and getting people their promos and playmats.
And that is why we have this right here, that beautiful friend from work card, which I think you should explain.
Ralph Cole and I made a deal where I was going to get that friend from work from him way back in 2020, and then we were never able to meet up until January of 2022 at Midwinter, where we finally were able to execute the trade. So.
And they were going to trade all of, the 2020 league stuff that was hard to find. And
yeah, it was.
He ended up trading my Taskmaster promo to get it.
It did end up hurting the overall value of the trade that Ralph and I had set up, is that I was going to trade him all this hard to find 2020 league stuff, and then Upper Deck's like, 2020 league stuff for everyone. But true to his word, we went ahead and made the trade. We made it work. So
after you took my Taskmaster promo from me.
This right here. This Taskmaster promo right here. Okay, so after this playmat, we have another playmat we want to talk about, and that is this one. So Whit, why don't you tell us what's going on here?
Should I start with the backstory or just why? I'm just going to go. So
dive right in.
This is the first playmat I have ever gotten that was actually kind of mine, and also the first playmat that I got in a tournament. And I won that tournament. That's how I got the playmat. And you're going to notice it's a stitched playmat. And
shout out to Geek City.
Yeah.
The LGS that hosted the event.
And this just, because this is my first playmat, kind of my first tournament ever, I won that tournament. It's important to me. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I bring this playmat, because it's important to me, to my first real non-local, actually have to travel to event, big tournament. And I got everyone to sign, and So
I can't remember, someone on the Facebook Collective, I think it was, suggested, hey, what if we got a poster or something and got everybody to sign it as a cool way to try to make it up to Whit that he wasn't going to be able to play in the event. And I thought that was a great idea, although we riffed on it a little bit, and we kind of stole a page from C-Stacks, and we decided, let's get a playmat.
Because playmats are better.
Well, and it'll see more use, and it's just a little bit more cool, I think. And this specific playmat being of sentimental value to Whitman, even though it's not a versus mat, it's even more sentimental value to him. I felt a little embarrassed that he asked me to sign, though. I'm like, this is for everybody else. You already know me.
Yeah. Also, the little joke is, they both have horrible management. I can't tell the difference. So,
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So I do want to say thank you to everyone who took time out of your midwinter to come over and meet Whitman, sign his playmat, and kind of help take the edge off the disappointing news that Upper Deck fed us. Do we want to move to the next one, or do you want to leave this one here for
I
me?
like how, hashtag free Whit, and there are also a few other ones. I just don't have to track them
There was
down.
a hashtag
But-
Whit play that was going around.
Yeah, there was there are a few things saying let me play and kinds of things like that, but I don't have to look at each individual one.
Whit, I have come to bargain.
My
So,
mom lost that.
2021 or 2022 league promos. What do we think of this playmat?
I remember what you said when I commented on
When I
this.
first showed Whitman a picture of this playmat, he went, "Eh." I said, "I don't even know you anymore."
No, that's not what you said.
What did I say?
You said, we're not friends.
Oh, we're not friends.
I just don't... They just aren't really doing anything.
I think it looks awesome. I like seeing Stretch back here. I like the way Ben Grimm is crushing his way through the ground. I do think the color orange is a little bit of an odd pick for Fantastic Four.
Agreed.
I kinda-
That is part of the reason why I don't 100% like the mat.
Like a blue background feels a little more on color for Fantastic Four. But as far as league mats go, I like it. I have a sneaking suspicion this was supposed to be the league mat for 2021,
Agreed.
the year Fantastic Four came out.
Yep.
So that's my guess.
I feel like the best mat that I know, my favorite mat that you have, not ones that I have,
Okay.
is the League 2020.
The
I
Magic
like the,
mat?
I love that
Yeah,
Magic
that's a
mat.
good
That's
one.
one of my favorite mats ever. And because that's the only, one of the only League mats, that was the first thing that I saw when I
Have you
found out
seen the
about
Venom
League.
one?
No.
That's
But
the only
anyway,
one we don't have.
this is a big downgrade.
For Magic? You think this is a downgrade for Magic?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends. Are you more of an X-Men fan or more of a Fantastic Four fan?
I'm not a fan of either.
Oh, well, there you go. But you are a fan of Venom, so we'll have to show you the Venom.
Just
league
Magic.
mat.
The Magic map is just cooler.
All right, so before we
Yeah,
get to the bottom of our
more
mat
stuff
stack
going
here,
on.
I think we need to spend a little bit more time with story time. Do we want to talk about Friday at all? What did we even do Friday? I drafted. We just kind of hung out.
I just kind of sat there because
Yeah.
I don't like drafts.
Whitman didn't want to do draft.
I don't like draft.
So we got there early Friday. We got to see some people, but Whit didn't play a lot of games on Friday. Other than you did do some of your league games.
I did one
Yeah.
game.
For anyone who's not familiar, when you sign up for League, you have to buy whatever the newest 200 card box is. At this time, it is Civil War Battles, and you then play 7 games using just cards out of, in this case, Civil War Battles, and you get a promo after the first game, a promo after the third game. I don't remember the exact order,
I'm
but
pretty
game
sure it
7...
was promo first game, promo third game, and then promo fifth game in the playmat.
That sounds right. So you end up with 3 league promos and a playmat, and that's how League worked. You're able to do that at any point over the course of the weekend. You just have to find somebody to play with. And there were a lot of people who, even if they had already done their 7 games, were like, yeah, I'll play with you. Let's go. Let's make sure you get your games done.
And
Which
somebody went very out of format and said, yeah, I'm here to make quick league games. He was playing Human Torch
Yeah.
in a Civil War format.
Vern definitely was bringing the fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
So let's move into Saturday. So we knew going into Saturday, because we had talked to Viets on Friday, what the plan was, and we knew that you weren't going to be allowed to play.
I want to talk about what happened. So what ended up happening is so basically if there was an odd number of players in a round, so the person who wasn't playing could play me, and whoever won would get a promo. For example,
Well, and I think
I'm
we
not
should
gonna
say
show those,
we
actually.
did end up with an even number of players.
but people
So
would
round
still just
1,
play me.
everybody was busy, and Viets sat down to make sure that Whitman had somebody to play. But so
I talk about the games.
the overall the way it was set up is Whitman had basically his own table, and anybody could come and sit down and play him. And if you beat Whitman, you win a promo. If he beats you, he wins the promo. So these are players bringing real decks, trying to play for real. Small stakes. Promo cards are small, but they're stakes in what is mostly a competitive environment, which is really what I wanted for him to begin with. So even though he wasn't able to play in the main event, what Viets ended up setting up was a really special, unique experience, which I'm very grateful for.
And there were in my opinion, there were high stakes for me because this was on the line. The top 4 playmat. So because I went out for what would have basically been tournament rounds, I came in with 6. No, I think I had I feel like it was 5 wins, 1 loss or something.
Yeah, so
at the end.
Whitman's first 6 games, because we played 6 rounds of Swiss in the main event, his first 6 games were actually kept track of and scored, essentially. And the promise was that if he had a positive win rate, which would have been enough of a win rate to potentially make top 4, he could win a top 4 playmat. And if he went undefeated, he could win a champion playmat.
Except he didn't tell us that at the beginning, so there's a chance that I feel like it might not have been. Our light just started
blinking. Yeah, that was
again.
weird.
And I lost 1 game.
Who beat you? Who robbed you of your champion playmat?
I cannot remember.
You can't remember?
Well, no, I know who it is, but you have so many friends with the names that start with J that I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to feel bad if I mix it up.
Not John.
Okay, because you have 5 different friends with names that start with J, and I feel bad whenever I mix it up, so I don't want to say. So a lot of the time I'm just like, oh yeah, they beat me, and just refer to them without names.
That's a funny story that I haven't told anywhere yet, but Vietz went up to John. Now we all have our face masks on, so.
And I was sitting right at the table.
Yeah, you only see so much, and John and I are both 6 foot tall dudes with dark hair and hats on, And Vietz comes up and starts talking to John. Oh, hey, this situation with Whit. Who are you, man? John had no idea what was going on. That was pretty funny.
And he was like, wait. And then he went over to the table right by where I was sitting, and was it Peter? He was like, wait, is that Ben? Who is that?
Yeah. Also, Vietz approached me and wanted to talk to me about the situation, which I appreciate. Upper Deck kind of took a little bit of they rained on our parade, so to speak. So the fact that the on-site representative went out of his way to come up and say, hey, let's talk about what happened and try to do the customer service thing, but although it felt more sincere, it didn't feel like customer service, although nuts and bolts, that is what it is, but it felt like somebody who was like, man, this sucks, I know it sucks, I hate having to be part of this sucking, let me try to make it better. And that felt sincere to me, which I really did appreciate.
I remember, didn't you ask him, is this you or Upper Deck talking? I remember you said something about him being well, yeah, this is my decision.
I mean, there is a difference between Upper Deck, the corporation, and the individual people who work there.
Yeah.
And, sometimes those waters get a little muddy, especially when emotions get high, when, really bad news comes our way. So I just want to be clear that every individual person I've ever had any interaction with Upper Deck has been super pleasant, and Vietz at Midwinter was no exception to that. So let's get into the fun stuff. So Whitman ended up playing for 12 straight hours. He started playing at 10.
12 hours and what was it, 48 minutes?
Well, when we checked out of the parking garage, the car was parked for 12 hours and 42 minutes, yeah. So, but Whitman started at 10, and at 10 I was like, you're done, kid. You don't get to play another game. We're done here.
Won.
He wanted to keep playing. 12 hours. It's bananas.
I won more than 16 games.
I would have been in heaven playing cards for 12 hours when I was your age. With
and
a bunch
you
of
were
adults.
my punching bag for one of those games.
That's true. I did lose. The one game where I played Whit, I did lose.
Seriously, he didn't put a single wound on my Carnage.
In my defense, though,
nothing.
I wasn't going to play because there was a line of people who wanted to play Whitman, but he insisted that I needed to play him. So let's show off some of these promos.
There's no excuses for your loss.
The night we got there, Theo came up to us, and he has made custom Taskmaster cards for Whitman.
Wait.
Now, if you remember the video we did a while back where Whitman talked about his fantasy Taskmaster cards, that's what these are. This panel of artwork is actually original art that was commissioned by our friend John. So this is,
I wish I could,
in more ways than one, this is a very unique take on the Taskmaster character.
I wish I could just go upstairs and take, the frame that has that artwork in it and just, show it to the camera.
Yeah, Whitman has a poster print
but I'm
that's
not
hanging
tall
in his
enough.
room.
It's in a frame. It's not...
These are wooden, which is kind of a cool way to do a promo card. So this was stuff Theo just made on his own accord to try to try to take the edge off how unfortunate the events of the week are. Team Apex came up to us and gave you a hand tracker, a little Iron Man,
actually,
which is very cool.
I'm gonna go upstairs and grab that.
Oh, okay.
So I can show everyone.
So one of the things we want to do with this, while yes, it's fun to have story time, and you can even hear the stairs as Whitman runs upstairs. Yes, it's fun to have story time, and share and kind of show off some of these cool goodies that we got. The more important thing, I think, is having some gratitude and appreciation. I really, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate everything everybody did to try to help make this a better weekend for Whitman. Dude, when you ran down the stairs, it moved our camera. I saw it jump.
Oh.
All right, so you want to show off your hand tracker? Yeah, look at that.
I'm trying to show it and clearly. And
you were going to that camera.
Yeah, I was like looking at the wrong camera, and I was like, "Where is it? Where? Well, huh?"
Okay.
No, this stays here now.
So that's our thank yous there. So let's keep moving. What other cool goodies do we have to show off?
Bert gave me these two signed the Ultron.
And you picked those, right?
Yeah, he had like a stack of, I don't know, 60 or something cards. Probably more than 60. It was a big stack of all signed cards by him, and I chose these two cool looking cards. I also love this main character. It's just hard to make him work.
Because everybody goes around with just a big stack of cards that they've autographed to give to people. That's just a normal thing we do.
that when you think about it, it's like...
He did, the fact that he had the paint pen, though, did save our bacon with people signing your playmat, because I forgot...
You specifically said, I need
this
to
paint pen right
put
here.
This pen on my desk so I remember it. And I remember you told me, you thought to yourself, man... I probably should have put that in my pocket, and you forget it. You should have put it in your pocket.
I should have put it in my pocket. So you got a package of legendary sleeves to keep all your cards safe.
Because I couldn't find any of the sleeves. So
we did have one. We did have one trade that went down where Whitman got.
I don't want to do that until I show.
Oh, you want to do
stuff.
the trade last? Okay.
Huh? I don't know.
Is there some gunk on one of those sleeves?
They're stuck together.
Well, that's why we use sleeves.
So I'm gonna separate those. So this is the league cards, which I have a full set of these.
I think this is the best one of the bunch.
Yeah, which is why I traded away my green to get a full set of these, which was
then traded away to get a giant-sized card by Peter. He traded away the fortress you traded him. Yeah.
People in the room were like, I don't think that's the best trade.
I am a little disappointed. Well, Peter even said that he didn't think it was a fair trade, but you were happy with it, and that's all I
want
care
a full
about.
set. I hate having an uneven number of this set of cards. I need to either have the full set or just two of them.
As far as promos go, this is a time where I think they chose worse art for the promo than was on the original card, which is a little disappointing.
No, I like the background more.
You like the background more? Okay. I mean, it's okay. This isn't bad art. It's just I think Silver Surfer looks cooler in the regular art as opposed to this one. But this was a good choice of card to promo. Same with Might Makes Right. And this is the third of the full-size art locations. So in 2019, we got Academies. In 2020, sort of, we got labs. We didn't really get them in 2020, but they're out in the wild now in much larger numbers.
You were supposed to get them in 2020.
Well, they did come out in 2020, but there was only 2 events before COVID shut down. So there weren't that many out there. And then the fortresses are what came out in 2022. So we still don't have the, I'm forgetting the name, Training Ground full art. So I would expect that in the League 2023 stuff.
And technically, I traded my green for this. So I'm just going to set that
Yes,
there.
Whit has a full playset.
This is the one
I love this Might Makes Right art. I know that generally I criticize cards that are kind of background deficient. I like to have the art have stuff in the background.
I'm going to move this away from the other cards because this is the one that had gunk on the back.
And I like characters to be more dynamic. And Thing is clearly not very dynamic here. So even though this particular art sort of checks a couple boxes of things that I don't like,
it's still amazing.
It works. It works great. I think this works excellent. I love this card, and this is another card that we need more copies of this in the world because it's in so many decks. All right, let's keep moving through your haul.
My promos. I have a full hand of promos. Well, no, plus this one that you gave me.
Well, let's put them down so that people can see them.
Oh, I want to do. I was thinking, which do I do first, the promo or the trade? But it makes more sense to show the promos before I show what I traded for, because the promos have some of the stuff that I traded for.
Wait,
so,
you already have this Taskmaster here. This one's still mine then. You only have
No,
one
I got
Taskmaster.
two.
You had two? Okay,
from the final
fine.
match, Veets was like, I want to leave, so I'm just going to put 3 promos on the table, and one of them was a Taskmaster.
Oh, I see.
And so I traded.
So Whitman did get a full playset of the Captain Boomerang participation card for the
I thought that everyone did, so I traded.
and somebody came up, and I think it was Ralph Cole, right? Wanted to trade you to give you
the acrylics.
the acrylic. Well, he started by offering a Star-Lord acrylic, and I was
hey,
like, get that out of here, buddy.
we already have it, and it's not.
Yeah.
And I thought everyone got a full playset, so I was like, oh, it makes sense. I traded.
Well, that's why he wanted 3.
And I traded, so now we have every single acrylic in the game.
We do. So overall, man, the glare on these is terrible. We have every acrylic in the game, and we still ended up with a playset of boomerangs between me, you, and some other trades that went down. So overall, even though, and I've said this before, we didn't get the thing we wanted, which was your first hardcore, real serious tournament experience. We did get
I got more promos than I would have gotten
completely
now.
insane haul of promo cards.
I was about to say I'm kind of happy in a way. Like, part of me is happy because who in a tournament wins this many promos?
Nobody, not even Robert Smallwood.
I do want to play Smallwood sometime.
And you got to play games against probably a larger number of total people than you would have had you played in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, you had this incentive for people to come play you who you might not otherwise have got to test your deck against. And, I mean, I'm not going to say what happened is okay. It's not okay.
It isn't.
But
it's totally unfair, and it's kind of stupid.
Yes.
Actually, no, not kind of. It's really stupid.
But
and
you still had a great weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
And somebody, so they were told, play with your tournament decks. Come and play with, like, the deck that's in the format.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody played with Kingpin. Kingpin is not in this format.
Some of the decks that you faced were not second chance format specific decks, but that's okay. That's okay. You mixed it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Did you have any other thoughts about Midwinter, side events, meeting people, anything else you want to talk about that we didn't touch on already?
It's nice to have all the acrylics.
All right, well, I think we're going to leave that there. For anyone who's interested, I did a deck breakdown for the deck that I played in the event on the most recent episode of the podcast. And in the next episode of the podcast, I'm going to go over my tournament experience with regard to how it went round by round. Spoiler alert, it did not go the way I wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I can see based on how you became my human punching bag.
Yeah, I was not in top 8, so it didn't go the way I wanted.
And I ended up in top 4.
I suppose, actually, before we shut this down, there's one person whose praises we have not yet sung in this, and that is Peter. Shout out to Peter, the tournament organizer. Shout out to Cody, the judge, as well. But particularly, Peter put on a great event. Flawless? Was it a flawless event?
Not flawless.
I'm gonna round it up to flawless. It was could not have been done better, even if Carlos was there.
It wasn't flawless, but it was definitely like the closest you can be to flawless without being
it was truly the event the Versus community needed and deserved at this juncture in time. It's been a rough couple of years, and seeing everybody again, it was like everybody coming back to summer camp, kind of. I guess not for you, because you don't know any of these guys, huh?
It was so strange, because I know everyone by voice, but I've never seen them, so it's
and
like...
you know their hands.
Huh? That's different. Everyone's hands look similar, unless you're...
Hold on, who are you? Show me your hands.
Unless you're a palm reader, everything looks the same.
Okay.
But, like, it was so wrong. It felt... I'm going to say wrong, because it's like, you know they're...
It's a little...
You know them, but you don't know them.
Yeah, it's a little uncanny to meet people whose voices you've heard a ton of times and then put the face together with it.
Especially when you don't... So, it's kind of like how when you read a book, you know how the character looks, and you want them to sound like this, but then the movie is made, and then they just don't sound right. It's kind of like that. Like,
Are you trying to talk about the bad guys?
No, but there's a lot of movies that I thought, oh, this character sounds like this.
Yeah.
And then they just sound something very, very off. But it's kind of like that, except with, instead of, like, voice, it's the body and how they look. Like,
Sure.
It's so strange.
It is a little surreal when you meet people in person that you've only known
Feels off.
through hands on a playmat.
And, yeah.
Which was an experience I uniformly enjoyed. There was nobody that I met at Midwinter that, like, out of the people that I hadn't met before, there was nobody who was like, oh man, I need to get away from this. Everybody was awesome. And out of the people that I had met before, everybody was awesome. I have no complaints
I was a
about,
little shy.
I mean, maybe anything other than the fact that I wish I would have done a little better in the main event. But even that, I can't complain. Like, I had a great time. We ended up having a great weekend, and considering the storm cloud that blew in over this event with just a few days before it happened, when we went, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was happy. It was rewarding. It was an awesome event at every angle. And now I feel like we're just repeating ourselves. So, is this final thoughts? Are we done here?
I don't know. Maybe we could put out another hour of us just repeating ourselves.
Go win some games. Go win some games.